Welcome, everyone who's here with me, and then also all of y'all who are listening to us. And I'm very happy to share today. We do a lot of things at Families as Allies. Y'all know we're a statewide organization run by and for families of children with behavioral health challenges. We're all in this together. And we support each other as families, but we also bring families together to make things better for our children. And one way we do that is through our leadership training, which I know all of you have been recently involved in. And one very cool thing that happened with this particular group is all of you all came together to not just be in the leadership training, but to lead the leadership training. And I know some of you have been doing that a long time and some of you just started, but it ended up being one of the best trainings we ever had. So we wanted to talk to y'all for just a minute about that and let y'all share and see what we can learn from the wonderful experience you had. But I'm going to stop for a minute and I'll let everyone introduce themselves. And so it won't get confusing, I'll say your names and you can say who you are and how you came to be here and what your role was in the recent leadership training that we did that y'all helped with. Coreaner, would you like to start?
Yes, I will. My name is Coreaner Price. I'm a family partner with Families as Allies, and that's what brings me here today.
And how long have you been helping with leadership training?
I've been helping with leadership training for 2 years. I co-trained with the great Henry Moore, and it was a pleasure training with you young ladies. It was a great, great pleasure.
Well, Henry, you got quite an intro there, so why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Henry Moore. I'm with Families as Allies. And yeah, we've been doing this training for about 2 years. And we've implemented some new people, some new faces in our training. And that is very, very exciting. And you're going to hear from them in a second.
Okay, Haley and Jackie, why don't you each introduce yourselves and tell us how you came to be involved in this?
Hey, my name is Haley Pridmore. I'm the lead peer support from Community Counseling Services. I started helping with Families as Allies, about a month ago. I did the leadership training the last time it went around, and I really gained a lot of knowledge from it, and I asked to be a part of the next time it went around, and Henry told me to jump on board.
And how about you, Jackie?
Hi, I'm Jackie Easley. I got into the first leadership training, I think, in February. It was very educational to me, and I was so enthusiastic, wanting to get on board, and I got on board. Then I did a meeting, then I did a training, and I am a grandparent of a child that's a part of the program up here, and I'm excited to be a part.
And I'd forgotten that part, Jackie. You went right out of leadership training and just facilitated a whole meeting, didn't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, that is so cool. And for those people who aren't familiar with leadership training, that's the whole point, is that parents should be at the table in any decision-making committee, just like everybody else, side by side, making those same kinds of decisions and having the skills and information they need to do that. So that's what we do in leadership training. So that's, I really appreciate what all of you have done up until this date. And when you think about leadership training, both what you went through and then the leadership training that you all recently all came together to facilitate, for each of you, what's the most meaningful thing that came from that for you? What mattered the most to you?
What mattered the most to me is just being able to gain knowledge that I didn't have at first, to be able to use to impact the kids that I work with. A lot of the kids that I work with, they're stuck in homes where they don't have the knowledge and the training that, like, the parents don't. And I'm able to use what I learned here and go out and help the parents gain a better insight to be able to help their own children, even when I'm not there to help.
What I got from the last training that I sat in is the support that the group give to the families,
Mm-hmm.
and that once if we can get these families to get out there and we can get them educated, I think it would be a bigger support and a bigger help for the kids. But as we're working with the kids, I think our main focus, or one of the things we should focus on more, is how are we going to train these parents to actually help their child.
Okay, you're waiting on me to go now?
We're all waiting, Henry.
Okay, what I got out of this, I mean, the whole team approach, I mean, it was very exciting. Adding Haley and Jackie to the training, along with Coreaner and our other trainer, who's not with us, Nikki. Having that whole team approach and having different perspectives. We had a perspective from peer support from Haley. We had a perspective from a grandparent from Jackie, and we put this whole thing together. And it was a really awesome when you have these different perspectives from people who are already leaders and training other leaders. Leaders training leaders.
Okay. What I got from it was being able to co-train with each of the trainers that was on, and being able to bring our own uniqueness to the training. And as Mr. Henry said, getting different perspectives and different point of views, coming from a grandparent, coming from a peer support. That was so awesome. And just, it seemed like we all have trained together before, because everything just came natural, and the way everything just flowed, it was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It really makes a difference. It's very powerful to bring parents together. Parents and others raising children. I know you're a grandparent, Jackie. And from that perspective, I want y'all to think about this. It sounds like what happened with that particular training was really amazing and made a big difference to all of you, and made a difference to the people who were in the group. We want that same thing to happen throughout the state. And we think it happens when families are at the table with everybody else. So the biggest thing we emphasize about leadership training is for parents who've completed it to have the opportunity to go and be on committees, like with state agencies, local agencies, different groups. It could even be a managed care organization, and serve on committees that make decisions about how that system or that entity runs. And just from what y'all have been through, what would you say? Let's just say some administrator from a state agency is listening right now. We sure hope they all are, and we say hi to them because we like partnering with them. But if they're listening, let's just say Dr. Wright's listening from the Department of Education, or Dr. Dobbs from Health, or Miss Bailey from the Department of Mental Health. What would you say to them based on the training you went through? What do you think is important about having families serve on those same committees that other decision makers are serving on? What words of wisdom would you share with them?
One of my words of wisdom would be family involvement, because no one knows what a family is going through but that family. So if the state doesn't know what the families are going through, how's the state going to help?
Right.
What
I see is, like, to piggyback off of what Ms. Jackie said, when a family is going through a crisis, their voice needs to be heard. When their voice is heard and their input is heard, and then somebody follows up with it, somebody actually listens to them and goes through with something. Because a lot of people, they listen to them, but they don't ever follow through with the action. Yeah, we'll do something about it, but then nothing ever gets done. And then to actually see something be done about it, that makes that family want to get on board, because it makes them feel like, hey, my voice is being heard. My input actually matters. And when that starts to happen, they're more apt to come on board and more apt to share their voice.
My words of wisdom to the state agencies is this: we have highly trained parents, caregivers, peer support. They are highly trained. Allow them to serve on these decision-making groups in Mississippi and listen to what they have to say.
My words of wisdom would be, how can you make decisions about families without families being a part of the decision-making process? Allow families to sit on these groups, allow families to give their input, allow families to kind of guide you into what families want and what families need. What other way to know what families need and what families want without asking them?
Those are some great words of wisdom. And I know I'm just the facilitator, but I'd also throw in there when families are on those committees and they also have the opportunity to give input into how money is spent, because we don't want it wasted. And I'm not saying anybody else does, but we're really focused on use this money to help our children. And that's all we're thinking about. That helps systems stay on track too, and also helps them be accountable, so we can look back and say, did it make a difference? Was there an impact of having families here? And did we spend our money on the things that families said they wanted? And does the system have the outcomes that families have said are important? So that's my little 2 cents for the state agencies and how this process can be supportive to you. Do y'all have any other things that you didn't get to say that you'd like to share today?
I'm just grateful for the opportunity to be able to use the things that I've been through, the walk that I've gone through, to be able to help be the change that I want to see in the world. You know, a lot of kids, I know that if I had someone like me helping lead, guide, and direct when I was younger, I might not have went through some of the things that I went through. And that's what I want to be to these kids in this younger generation growing up, is a light, you know, to help them see, you know, there is hope. There is a different way of going. You know, it's not always you have to, you know, have peer pressure. You don't always have to turn to the streets. You don't always have to be that bad kid. You know, there is a different way to do things. And, you know, I'm so grateful to be able to be a part of the change.
Haley, you're really a walking testimony
Mm-hmm.
to be able to can share that with them, because that's something you have gone through.
Yes, ma'am.
What I would like to say is our kids and families have fallen through the crack. So if we can educate, and that's a big part, we have to educate and make our voices heard so that our kids do not continue to fall through the crack, and wind up incarcerated or institutionalized, because these kids are not bad kids. They just need some help, and they don't need to fall through the crack.
Agreed.
Anything? Those were great words to end on. Is there anything else Coreaner or Henry, you want to share?
After those powerful words,
I agree. I have nothing else to say. They summed it up.
So we'll just say amen and
Amen.
amen. And thank you to all of you, and thank you to all of you out there watching who joined us. We appreciate it. And we are having a leadership training this week that you can still sign up for from the event section of our website.